you tap, or you can do what they call a verbal tap, and they'll let go.
What's a verbal tap? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, so if you're in jiu-jitsu and you're in a position you don't want to be in, and your airflow is getting cut off, you can say the word tap, and
Oh,
that's the
this
same
makes
thing
sense.
as actually tapping.
It's just like if you're choking, you can just shout Heimlich maneuver and someone will run over and help.
That's right.
Got it. Verbal tap. I need to remember that.
Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Yeah, it's like that, y'all.
It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast.
It's like that. Come on. Yeah. Come on. It's like that. It's like that.
All right, so I found the video of this. Are we recording? Yeah, okay. I found the video of the Verdum Ferreira fight, and I'm going to show you something.
Yes. Tell me this thing that you have with the
All right.
Verdum fight, please.
So
need
what
to
was
know.
this? This is Friday night. I feel like I watched so much fighting over the weekend. This is a Friday night fight, right? PFL?
No, that's just Thursday. This is Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, even better. So Thursday night, I turn on PFL, and so they have, and you and I texted about this. They have this whole production going on ESPN, right? And it's this, they've obviously put a lot of effort and a lot of sort of, frankly, money behind it, right? And the way this fight started caught my attention. Can you see it?
I can see it.
Okay, you can see it. Listeners cannot see it. I want you to go with me in the first 4 seconds of this fight. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm with you for these 4 seconds.
All right. Time in.
Yep.
And what do we get?
Why aren't they moving?
Double flying knees. Double.
They flying knee at each other.
How many MMA fights start that way? Especially heavyweight fights.
Heavyweight? I can't recall ever seeing heavyweight double flying knee.
It's not often, right? It's not often. And so then, and this is the one that's been making the rounds. So here's what I think. I think that someone at ESPN got to someone at
like
PFL. and I don't know, admittedly, what their professional relationship is. And they said, hey, we've got to make this exciting.
Okay.
You guys have to start with flying knees towards each other.
We saw what it did with Jorge's career. We think
Right.
it'll really work for you guys.
Right. Then we get here. Okay.
Okay.
So
to the fake tap.
Fabrizio Verdum has him in a triangle.
Yes.
That's called a triangle choke.
Yes.
I've been in them. It's very uncomfortable. This, where my cursor is Ferreira's right arm. What is this right here that he does?
He lifts it up and he taps twice.
Okay, one. Two.
Yeah. 2 taps.
Okay, that's what a tap looks like.
Yeah.
Then somehow that's 1, and that is 2 taps.
Yeah.
Now the issue is, where's the referee when that happens? Because I was watching this fight live and I thought to myself, oh, he tapped.
Yeah.
But then the referee was like, well, but also, what if he didn't?
Okay.
Right? So how do you sell a fight that, let's be honest, PFL is not exactly headline news? How do you sell it? You generate some controversy. Fabrizio Verdum in MMA circles is a big name.
Okay, so
a historic name, right?
Your implication is the controversy is being generated.
My implication is the controversy is being generated. So I'm going to put that conspiracy in front of you, and now I'm going to give you the opportunity to explain why I'm wrong.
Okay, I'm going to explain why you're wrong, because he tapped, and then the ref didn't see it,
Okay.
and Verdum felt it, and being an honorable fellow, did not loosen his grip and kept going and lost the grip and then got knocked out. And it seems to be rather convenient to say that he loosened it. But I mean, realistically, you have to keep going till the ref pulls you off. So I think it just missed it, man. I'm not sure about your theory. I'm not sure about your theory. I question it.
So then what should the rule, especially in something like PFL, which what I appreciate about them is they have like a regular season and postseason structure.
Do they have instant replay?
Well, that's the question.
Because it's going to the commission, correct?
Is it?
I think so. I believe Verdum's team is fighting for it. I'm pretty sure.
Well, they should be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the issue with the idea that Verdum felt the tap, which he probably did, and also the referee not getting there on time, is Fabrizio Verdum. How many MMA fights do you think he has in his career?
Probably 40. I'd put him around the 40.
You think he's got 40 MMA fights total?
I could see it around there, maybe 30. And for all of the pretty neat listeners that have decided to join us, we don't know this stuff. We're not encyclopedias of it. We store the information where everybody else does in the cloud.
Well, frankly, there's nothing wrong with doing some fact checking. Okay.
Know your resources.
Know our resources. So Fabrizio has 35 MMA fights. He has 24 wins, 12 of them by submission. That's very important. It does not look like he has ever been submitted. He has one draw, one no contest.
He submitted Fedor.
2. He's a second degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He has a black belt in Judo, and he has a black belt in Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And he has 35 MMA professional fights. He knows not to let go.
I think you're right on that. Yeah. And
also,
I that's why I made my case that it was convenient. And if instant replay had rules behind it that were enforceable, I think he would have a case.
Yeah, I think you have to make.
He tapped that is you gave up, and if that occurred, you wouldn't he have violated the contract that he signed for the fight? Like, isn't his tapping the end of the fight in a contract, or is it the ref actually stopping it? I don't know. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, and especially in a points-based league.
Yeah.
I think that there's something to really be said for. I think you got to take a second look at it. Yeah. If you want people to be bought into what PFL is doing, and I believe that ESPN does, and the people that run PFL do, Major League Baseball, the National Football League, the NBA,
yeah,
they all use a replay system. If I'm not mistaken, at least in the fights at the UFC Apex, I feel like I have seen UFC referees review footage when it comes to like a foul.
Yes, and in I forget what state, it might be Nevada, there's an independent ref who can witness something and call for instant replay.
Correct.
Right?
I believe so. And in fact, that came up recently.
Like, they can stop the fight. Like
that happened recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe there was a low blow or an eye poke that was missed, something like that. But yeah, I actually really like that. I like the idea of it also stopping people from dives, because not like
we're going to talk about dives when we talk about the Canelo fight.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, we are.
But yeah, I think that'd be great too. I mean, there's a couple of really great fakers that come to mind in the UFC and
names. I need names.
I think a Koscheck right away kind of jumps out there. I've already kind of forgotten the name of the woman from last week. I almost feel bad for that just because I respect her as a fighter. You got to respect her distance.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but Koscheck comes to mind the fastest. And then name inserts soccer player here or football for the one UK listener that we have.
The Mike Tyson Phantom Punch is probably the most famous one, right? The replay very clearly shows he did not make contact with him.
Correct.
And he went down.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I feel
there was an English fighter a couple of years ago who just didn't get in the ring. He literally just walked out. That was cool. Well, while we're talking about dives, let's veer off before. Was there anything else from PFL you wanted to talk about?
It was fun. I watched it at a friend's house, and I did notice that there was heavy artifacting in the video quality of the broadcast. And I noticed that on my television as well. So anybody at ESPN and PFL, maybe there's something going on with your broadcast. Or there's just something wrong with Texas. And that's completely a justifiable argument anyone could make.
Can we talk about one more thing on PFL? Well, two things on PFL.
Yeah, of course.
If that's okay with you. And the listeners.
Just as much as mine.
No, it's a 65-35 split. You have the 65. Here's two. Which one of these questions do I want to ask you first? My new favorite American is Kayla Harrison.
Oh yeah.
She beat the shit out of that girl. And I love it. I want to see her in the UFC. She is super jacked and I'm all for it. And am I correct in saying the UFC doesn't have a women's division where she could fight, right? She's too big.
That was women's featherweight. UFC does not have a women's featherweight. They used to, but
Amanda. You got to start. I need you on the brown rice. A lot of brown rice. You know what? You can have some pizza. You got to get up there. Now, let me ask you this.
I have some extra vanilla premier protein I can send you, Amanda. I am trustworthy with addresses.
That's right. Kayla Harrison, come on the Pretty Neat podcast.
We're not creepy.
My second question for you is this.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a name. Okay. Do you know who Jeff Novitskiy is?
Yes.
Okay, tell the listeners for those who don't know, or I can do it.
If I'm correct, he was the Unabomber. In that he blew up a few good athletes' careers with some tests at USADA.
I was going to say the Oklahoma City bombing, and that is correct. He is
USADA, right?
He is USADA with the UFC. If he's going to test Kayla Harrison, is it simply the eye test that he needs to do?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Does he just have to look at her?
No, I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so?
I think I'm not going to pass judgment. She might be ripped.
Okay, so if we're
I think she has? I'm being the politician. I will acknowledge that I am doing that. But it's because I don't know Kayla, and she's bigger and tougher and stronger than me.
Yeah, and that's all true.
Any which ways that she may choose to enhance her performance is up to her, and natural as well. I hope. But if she's not in the UFC in the next few years, and she's got a dominant run in the PFL, we'll probably know why.
I'm just gonna say I don't exactly know what the testing testing protocols for
PFL
are. Now
MIA.
Additionally, so she fights at 165.
Really?
What is Amanda? Yeah, what is Amanda? And so that means she's probably cutting, and Amanda's fighting at 135, 145.
Yeah, and did not have to cut very much to 45.
I don't know that you can cut 20 pounds of Anavar. I mean, I don't know that Kayla Harrison has 20 pounds to cut.
I
Anavar's
don't
a
either.
steroid. That was my joke. Who? I would
Kayla,
love to see it.
Me too. Probably
love to see
Amanda's
it.
Wolf, but I mean, then again, Amanda destroyed Cyborg, but it was also USADA Cyborg.
You know, there could be. Now, here's another fight I'd like to see: Kayla Harrison, Ben Askren. If Kayla Harrison is my new favorite American, and she is, Ben Askren is my least favorite American. Now,
love to see her meet Jake Paul.
Now, I think we need to be very clear. There is a huge difference in the fighter, all due respect, that she fought, whose name I can't remember, at PFL on Thursday, and Amanda fucking Nunes. Like, let's be real. That's a leap. Okay. I know that, but who else is out there for Amanda?
Yeah. The first name that really comes to mind for Amanda's Volkanovski. And I and I have to mean that literally, because I'm okay. Look at the 135, the most, I mean, you have the most overbearing like champion of all time, and then at Volkanovski, like I don't know. Well, he is bigger and stronger.
What about Henry Cejudo?
Against Kayla? I'd love to see Kayla fight Henry.
Oh, you want to see Volkanovski fight Kayla Harrison?
No, I'm just fucking. No, I'd love to see Volkanovski fight Nunes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
You don't want to see her fight Henry Cejudo?
I'd like to watch anybody fight Henry, to be honest.
Okay. I'm a Henry Cejudo fan.
I am too. His cringe level grew on me after the Paul brothers shit. Like,
I didn't know he was involved with that.
He's involved with anything on Twitter, of course, and he's upset that there's people that are making worse decisions than he did. It seems to me.
Worse decisions?
Yeah, like just like the forced cringiness. If it's forced, if it's not, that's worse.
Yeah,
like stealing Mayweather's hat or whatever, that type of adolescent nonsense.
What does that have to do with Henry Cejudo?
I'm saying that the like early retirements, calling out people below you, like it's just all of the tropes of somebody like doing the shit you shouldn't be doing if you're the best.
So I'll be honest. Yeah, you're right. I mentioned Henry Cejudo because he called out Amanda Nunes once. And that was so weird in the ring with Rogan at the end of a fight. And it was like, you can't. What?
Why not? They're athletes. If they want to sign
I mean, if they both want to sign it, I guess, but you don't see.
Did porn do it? Because if porn has done it, then it's fine.
I'm sure it has.
Okay. Then this makes sense.
You don't see Stylebender like, hey, Holly Holm, let's go. No,
yeah.
Although on like a points-based kickboxing fight, that would be super entertaining.
Holy shit. Do you think they would meet at
Wait,
like
what are you
175 Holm and Adesanya?
I thought you were asking who I thought would win.
No, where would they meet? What would they'd have to?
How much does Holly weigh? 145?
She probably walks around at 155, 160 at most.
Yeah, probably. I mean, maybe she could get to 170. I don't know if Stylebender could get down that low though.
I would like to talk about Michael Venom Page breaking another face.
Okay, so this is Bellator. I did not see that.
Okay. Well, I would love if you would pull that up, especially the kick. I love Venom. I am not a Pokemon fan, but I love that he's a Pokemon fan because my wife's a Pokemon fan. And like all of my friends are Pokemon fans. So
I'm nationally ranked, but that's fine.
So everyone around. So naturally, I'm like drawn to people who like Pokemon, even though I don't give a shit. And like, so he's a friend in the television to me. And he's so fun to watch.
So how is he known for being a Pokemon fan?
Yeah, there was a time frame when like he would throw a Pokeball down at his unconscious opponents.
Yes, I knew that. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's way fun. But man, yep, he shattered a man's nose
With a kick, a head kick.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't block it with the bridge of your nose.
You don't typically block a kick with the bridge of your nose. And I've only done a little bit of Muay Thai training, but I've never heard a coach say, "Hey, when someone throws a kick, use your face to block it."
Have you been kicked in the face before?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow, I've been kicked in the face.
It's not great.
No, it's not. Oh man, my sister, she was pretending to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right.
Yeah.
And by your sister you mean you?
No, my sister, 5 years older than me, pretending to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Uh-huh.
And she had a beautiful front kick right to my face. And I think I was probably the only 6 or 7-year-old walking around with a broken nose.
Okay.
Okay, you brought this up. You brought up the kick to the face.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's not he's bouncy.
He reminds me of Wonder Boy Thompson,
Little bit.
with the down arms, and I mean, it makes it scary. It makes angles terrifying. You can hide kicks really well.
Well, no, and there's something to be said. Yeah, and then you got to taunt him. There's something to be said for sort of selling where the kick is going. You may remember Jessica I, who also tried to block a kick with her head. Bid on the low kick and then took it up top, and that was one of the most vicious knockouts you'll ever see.
Oh my, it was a bat.
Yeah.
It was a bat.
Yeah.
I've heard foul balls at Dodger Stadium that did not have that ping.
That is correct. When I was a young kid, as we're watching Michael Venom Page just absolutely toy with Derek Anderson here. There was a kid in our neighborhood who wanted to play baseball with us, and his older brother had a very heavy wooden bat, and he was just kind of absent-mindedly swinging it. And this poor kid came running right as his brother swung the bat, and it hit him, and he was like, he was just out cold, flat. It was. Oh yeah, you've never seen 11 kids go running in different directions faster.
Have you been knocked out? We should.
No.
These are things never knocked out.
No,
choked
never
out?
knocked out. Very close.
Yeah. Okay. Not even in practice. Not rolling.
No. Very close in practice, but you
tap appropriately.
You tap, but you can do what they call a verbal tap, and it's
sure.
They'll let go.
What's a verbal tap? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah. So if you're in jiu-jitsu and you're in a position you don't want to be in, and your airflow is getting cut off, you can say the word tap. And that's the same thing as actually tapping.
It's just like if you're choking, you can just shout Heimlich maneuver and someone will run over and help.
That's right.
Got it. Verbal tap.
Or if you're sick, you just say medicine. You feel better.
Yeah.
Treatment.
Yeah. Or Rumble, he issued a verbal KO. The guy just laid to the ground and went. I think that's what it sounds like.
in our impending nicknames power rankings, Rumble is going to be a top contender for sure, a top 3 seed in one of the brackets. That's a fantastic nickname.
Yeah. Oh shit. I've been knocked out 3 times. Thus explains my CTE.
Right.
Yeah. Baseball. Hit by I was playing center field, which is really weird. I'd never play outfield. I always played pitcher, catcher, or first base, and then later on just catcher and pitcher. And in center field, I'm just running straight for a fly ball. Grass is wet, and I slip on the ground. The ball hits me in the face and knocks me out.
Really? How old were you?
I was 12.
Oh,
yep, there it was. There was the broken nose.
I mean, that was just oh wow.
But yeah, you see the close up of that, and his face is rearranged entirely.
And then you see him start to jab at it, which is
yeah.
I'm a fan of Michael Venom Page.
Yeah.
He's not going to win the I think you're pretty neat, but we respect your distance award this week. But he's right up there.
No. And then once other time, a couple times.
We briefly touched on the Canelo card, and I want to talk about it for just a minute because you said you talked about taking dives. So Frank Sanchez is an absolute tank of a man. I gotta say, good on DAZN, who got me to pay $20 to restart my DAZN subscription to watch this card. 3 super entertaining undercard fights before the main fight.
I didn't get to watch them. That's a shame.
Now, this is what Frank Sanchez looks like. Absolute tank of a man. Pure. Apparently, this is just what everybody in Cuba looks like, right? According to Yoel Romero. But just an absolute freak. Okay. This right here, and you can see it. Listeners can't. This is his opponent. This is Nagy Aguilera. Now, that's only relevant for this reason. Frank was a heavy favorite, and he was beating the shit out of Nagy Aguilera. At one point, Nagy was up against the ropes, and he put his hands down and turned to the referee to argue. And Frank hit him super hard in the face. I'm surprised he didn't go down. The weird thing, and Frank Sanchez was way up on the card or on the judges' scorecards. And the thing that stood out about this fight was in the, I want to say 7th or 8th round. Forgive me, I don't know specifically which one it was. Nagy complained again that he had been hit in the back of the head, and he took 2 steps back and kind of yelled at the ref, and then pointed at the back of his head, and then turned. The ref stepped in between the two of them, and then Nagy grabbed the ropes and went down to a knee, and then rolled onto his back. And I started yelling, "Dive, dive!" I think I texted you and about 11 other people, and then the referee, and the way the rules it was in Dallas or Arlington. The way that those rules worked was because it was after the 4th round, it went to the judges' cards, and every judge had it 60-54 in favor of Sanchez. So he won in overwhelming fashion. But it was kind of a disappointing end to a pretty entertaining fight to that point. The next fight up, Sissoko and Conway, was probably the only one that wasn't as entertaining, except that two judges, 96-93 and 95-94, had it for Conway. The other one had it 92-97 for Sissoko, which was weird. Or I'm sorry, the other way around, for Conway, who lost. So some judge thinks he won 7 rounds, but somehow lost but the other 2 didn't see it that way. Then the next, the co-main, Elwin, Soto, and Katsunari Takayama, super entertaining fight. And then Takayama took a couple shots to his face, but nothing super hard. He didn't go down. Soto was kind of swinging hard, and Takayama was kind of piecing him up. And then the referee stopped it, which was weird. And then Takayama came out and started going through a shadow box routine after the fight because he was upset that it had been stopped.
I mean, I only props as well to DAZN, not only for getting $20 from you, but for timing the Canelo fight for almost exactly right when the Waterson fight ended. So that's the only fight I caught.
Okay.
I was at a friend's house, so we were able to only watch that. And I have to say, it was an exciting fight. And watching 74,000 people erupt to watch one great white shark swim through a tiny pond of little fishies was immensely entertaining. Oh my gosh.
So what did you think of Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders for that matter?
I have to say, it looked, from what I have not watched many of Canelo's full fights because I haven't watched boxing too much, but I would say that it seemed as though he was not necessarily pulling any sort of rope-a-dope or anything, but he seems like a type of guy who, because for a while it looked like he lost a couple of rounds to me, probably 3 or 4 maybe. It just seemed like it was still his plan, if that makes sense.
Yep.
like it was just take him deep and lay in all the shots. And from what I've been told, he's the type of guy he's a juggernaut. He just builds momentum as he gets deeper. Am I right on that?
Yeah. So a couple things there. So all three judges had it. Two of them had it 78-74 for Canelo, and one of them had it 77-75. Although weirdly, all of them gave Billy Joe the first round and the fifth round. And then one of them gave him the seventh, which the seventh was the one to me I thought you could make the argument for. Otherwise, I don't know about the first round. A lot of times, so kind of like we've talked about, you have to take the belt.
Yeah.
And Billy Joe has one, right? Boxing, their belts are all over the place. Well, he doesn't anymore, but he did. Canelo knows it's a 12-round fight. And you know what always strikes me about Canelo, and I haven't missed a Canelo fight in 4 years now, really since the first time he fought Triple G, and which I think he lost that fight, but they called it a draw. I think Triple G beat him. I actually think Triple G might have beat him the second time too, but it was much closer.
Yeah.
You know, Canelo knows it's a 12-round fight, and there's nothing you do that impresses him when you're his opponent. Billy
kind of
Joe,
see that even when he was getting a little bit rocked, it was even sort of, well, this is just Tuesday. Like it didn't, it was nothing.
Exactly. There were a couple of times where Billy Joe not hurt him, but caught him. And you can't, that doesn't work on, Billy Joe Saunders doesn't punch hard enough, and Canelo is too composed. The guy has like 57 professional fights. I mean, a lot of them are like conference room in Mexico type of fights, but man, Canelo, he just, he stands there, his arms never come down. He walks into the middle of the ring and he pushes you in the direction he wants you to go. And then if you step and go the other way, he'll push you towards that corner. And eventually he's going to get you into the corner. And, if you go back and watch a good fight to watch of his, when he went up in weight and fought Kovalev.
Okay.
Kovalev is a noticeably, and Canelo is big. He's not tall, but he's very, very sturdy, obviously. Clenbuterol. Kovalev was physically bigger than Canelo, and Canelo, same thing. He stands right there. You have to get to him, and in the 11th inning, he just annihilated Kovalev with like a cross uppercut type of punch. Probably mostly an uppercut if I'm remembering it correctly, with a left, and Kovalev went down, and that was it. What Canelo does is so hard to stop. And, unlike some of the UFC fighters we've talked about, Billy Joe was a guy a lot of people thought might be able to beat him. And Billy Joe, to his credit, when they were showing him in the arena before the fight, he had a look on his face like he thought he was going to win. You can always tell in a fighter's face when they actually think they're going to win. Yeah. And he had that.
That's actually how I felt about Morono on Saturday when he came out against Cerrone, and it wasn't that I saw any sort of like premature failure on Cerrone's face. It was just kind of well, this is what I do. Like, this is my job. I take the fight, I guess. And it almost as if he didn't want to. Like,
I don't want to go all Stephen A. Smith on it and say that that Cowboy's mailing it in, but he's gotten beat up a couple times, and that, I don't know. It's at some point that is the end of the road, right?
Yeah, probably. Well, would you look at that? We've got a pretty neat guest that just popped up on the podcast call. Hey there, Smilen Sam Alvey. What's new?
Shooting not all that much. Just training, getting ready for whenever the next one shows up.
Yeah. Anything in line?
No, nothing's lined up just yet. Just keep myself ready. Keep my weight as low as I can keep it. Where I'm still living fairly comfortably, so I can make it whenever it's needed.
Yeah.
So Sam, can I ask again? Super nice to meet you, and really awesome of you to come on. You mentioned staying within a weight class. So you fight at 205, is that right?
I've dropped back down to middleweight.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so can you take us, if you don't mind, then? This is actually kind of the main question I wanted to ask. What is a fight week like for you? What is the Monday to Saturday or Friday, whenever it is? What does that preparation look like?
Let's say at 185, it's a little different for the weight class. But 185, I have more weight I need to lose. So I try to get wherever I'm going the Saturday or Sunday before my fight, so like a week in advance.
Okay.
COVID has changed that, and so now I get there on Tuesday. On Tuesday, if I'm fighting at 185, I try to show up on Tuesday at 200 pounds. This last fight, I was about 204, but it worked out all right. And then the week is pretty much, I just kind of relax. Most of my fighting careers, I go out and I experience the city. I see everything that Sydney has to offer, or New Zealand, or Brazil, or wherever I am. I go out and I see, I've experienced so many cities, so many countries around the world. I've had just a blast doing it. I don't work out that much. I make sure I run in the morning for about 20 minutes. I'll run at night for about 20 minutes. So I'll sweat twice a day. My diet, no sodium, no cut the glucose down, the glucosamine. I cut back on all that, so my weight comes down, and I tend to cut. I try to cut under 8 pounds, but sometimes it's around 8, maybe a little more.
Okay. Do you use one of those little portable saunas?
No, those things are terrible. I can't believe people cut weight in those. I have. So it was a year ago yesterday. I fought in Ryan Spann in Florida, and it was 205. So I had like a pound and a half, 2 pounds to cut. It took me like friggin' 45 minutes, one of those stupid little things, to lose that much. They're uncomfortable. You don't sweat that much. I don't like them at all.
Okay.
So in a fight week, then, say you're in the 185 post COVID, and you said you like to be getting pretty close. Like what happens during that weight cut before you get on the scale in those last couple days?
Yeah, so the actual cut is only a couple hours before stepping on the scale. Prior to that, you're just getting your body ready to lose weight. Yeah. So you're taking some of the diuretics to help your body lose everything. You're eliminating all salt, all flavor. You've got a fairly fatty diet, because that helps your brain work, and protein, because your body just burns protein. So you have a diet similar to that. The final hours, the actual cut, I do it in a bathtub. I go bathtub to cover myself in blankets and towels, to bathtub to cover myself in blankets and towels. And I'll do that until I make weight. This last time it took me about 2 hours to lose 8 pounds. But I can do it.
It's really cool to hear someone. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that weight cuts are kind of controversial, right? And definitely. Do you have any thoughts on weight cutting in general?
I felt great. We have plenty of time. I do think you could make a 165 weight class, 155, 65, 75.
Yeah.
But if you added a 95, or if you added a 225, you would just kill 2 divisions. Well, 195 would gut the 85, because I wouldn't have to cut 10 extra pounds. And every 205er could lose 10 more pounds. And be a 195. So I don't think there are any more weight classes needed. The UFC bends over backwards to help us with our weight cuts. For the most part, if you see somebody who has missed weight, it's their fault. They did something wrong. They went out of they had a bad camp, or they just didn't want to cut the weight. I think the statistic is, if you miss weight, you win like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
It's something crazy like that. So people, it gets hard, and people are mentally weak, and they think, well, if I miss weight, it helps my chances of winning. And I think that happens more often than not.
Interesting. I'd never even thought about that angle of it. You mentioned having a bad camp. Would you mind sharing the difference between a good camp and a bad camp?
I don't know if I've ever had a real bad camp. If you don't have training partners, that makes it rough. That makes it, hard to to do what you need to do. But for me, the hardest part of any camp is the diet. You've got to stay strict. You can't be cheating. You can't be, well, I did well yesterday, or I ran an extra mile today. No, you've got to eat, you've got to eat the appropriate amount when it's, when you're supposed to eat it.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. And I do believe a lot of fighters lack the discipline to do what's needed. And now female fighters are a little different because they cycle, and that I've got nothing to say about that.
Right.
Yeah, as their bodies do what their bodies do, it messes with weight cuts.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
I don't know how you get like over any potatoes. That's not possible.
Oh, my wife, she is a chef. I mean, she could cook. I mean, she could cook anything. And so I've nicknamed her. She's McKee, the anti-diet Elwin. She makes it so hard to cook. Then we have 5 kids, so I can't blame her.
Yeah.
She makes it for the kids. And it's. I'll bet you guys didn't know, if your kids leave food on the plate, you're allowed to eat it. There's no calories in there. It's crazy. I don't know how that happened, but yeah.
I was raised in that household, and I've been working it off for years and years after that.
I have a 5-year-old, and she doesn't leave a lot, but when she does, you're right, there are no calories.
There's no calories in it. Yeah.
No, it's totally true.
So a few years ago, I broke my jaw in training, and my mouth had to get wired shut. And everyone asked me, what was the thing you missed the most? And everyone hates my answer. My answer is chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I've ever ordered them. It's that my kids never eat them all. They eat, if they're 6, they'll eat 4. There's 2 left over. Those are dad's chicken nuggets.
That's right.
My mouth is wired shut. They're just sitting there, and I freaking want to eat them so bad.
If I may, Sam, as you mentioned before, your wife's been in your corner a lot recently. Not even recently, for years.
Oh, she's missed one fight. That was the Ryan Spann because of COVID. I've got over 70 fights, and she's been there for every one of them.
Yeah. So how long have you guys have been together since prior to The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, we've been together for 15 years, 7 months, and 4 days.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow. An exceptional fighter, an exceptional husband, an exceptional father. And I am not a fighter. I had a vasectomy, and I think my wife's going to leave pretty soon. So I think I need to come to Hendo's gym and drink y'all's Kool-Aid. So.
Well, shoot, I'm moving to Tennessee in about 2 months. It'll be a closer drive there.
Oh, wow. Why Tennessee?
Because Tennessee is amazing. California sucks. I love what I've done here. I love my team. I love the people I'm around. But California sucks. If anyone's watching this thinking about coming, don't. It is a waste of a trip.
Yeah, I grew up there and just left, and I've been trying to convince Dom. I moved 4 years ago to Austin because I was thinking Joe Rogan might move here, and if I'm gonna do comedy, I gotta lay my roots and get ready for his club. But no, I've been trying to convince Dom to come out here.
Dom, you should go out there. That is Dom, are you in Temecula?
I'm near. Yeah, I'm in Menifee.
Okay, yeah, I'm like Elsinore.
Oh, okay, yeah. My wife and I both teach public school, and the problem is it's very, very difficult to find teacher pay plus benefits plus sort of working conditions outside of California in a state that isn't as bad as California, like New York or Pennsylvania.
Right.
So I'm with you. We've looked, and if I could jet to Florida tomorrow, I probably would. But
hey, well, just remember, they may not pay as much, but it's cheaper to live everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It is cheaper to live. That's it. It's on our radar.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
All right.
I'll say that.
Well, if you make
if
you make it to Tennessee, I'm in Murfreesboro. It's right next to Nashville.
Okay.
You're welcome. You're welcomed out anytime.
I did have to ask because Leo Kuntz on The Ultimate Fighter, you probably get asked about that knockout.
I get asked about the show a lot, not often that knockout.
The torque that you rip from your hips for any hook you throw is beautiful. And like that hook, well, first of all, that one was that, and then Proc Neal, which was 3 hooks.
Yeah.
What went? I'm gonna start hitting people instead of playing trumpet, and like,
Yeah.
how did you go to tough?
Yeah, I went on to tough. Man, I had a big record going on to tough. But yeah, so I played trumpet my whole life. And I was semi-professional. And so what I always say, semi-professional means I never got paid, but the people I played with got paid. Yeah, so I was semi-professional. What made me switch is MMA started paying me. Not much. I mean, I've had plenty of professional fights where I got like gas money. So I fought a lot because I had a lot of gas I needed. And that was kind of the name of the game. Is I enjoyed doing it. They paid me a little bit. It was something to do while I was in college, and so I just kept doing it. And it actually worked out well.
Do you do all of your training at Dan Henderson's gym?
Yeah, and I still plan on training out here for my camps. I still plan on flying out here and doing all my training out here. But I'm just sick of California. I'm sick of the traffic. I'm sick of the taxes. I'm a ginger too. It is 114 degrees 4 months of the year, and I can't do it.
My in-laws are in Arizona, and we went last summer, and it was like 125. I'm not joking. And I'm like, why would anyone anywhere want to do this?
A couple of years ago, I got to go to Iraq with Joe Lozon, Diego Sanchez, and Jake Ellenberger. And we did a tour over there, just visiting the troops and everything. And it was, I don't know, at night it was like 110 degrees. During the day it was hot. And then I got back to Temecula, and it was the same damn temperature. Like, son of a bitch. didn't have to go to Iraq at all. I couldn't sweat my balls off here.
Oh, you're teaching now too, is that right? You're teaching at
Yeah. So I've taught from day one of my MMA career. I just made it up in the beginning. But now I know a couple things. So now I'm doing it for real. But yeah, I teach at Hendo's. I help coach the pro team. I run the amateur team. I teach almost all of the kids MMA, the teen MMA. I do a lot at Hendo's, and I really love doing it all.
That's great. And there's a couple, Joe Stevenson and Ashley Yoder. There's a couple of pretty recognizable names on that team. Yeah. Joe Stevenson's one of the head coaches. Ash is on it. I'm on it. Dom Reyes, he's been he trains with us. Not full time, but at least once or twice a week. Jared Bandera is out there. He's new to the UFC, but he'll be there for a while. Then of course, the king of all of them, Dan Henderson. And Dan is he's the GOAT. Do you have to let him hit you with an H-bomb before you can start training there, or no? No, at this point, was a dumb joke. We'll cut that. Don't worry. We'll cut that. At this point, Hendo still beats us all up, but he has to do it early. He has to land it early because he doesn't have more than a round in him. Okay.
I know that you've already spent more time with us than you said that you had available. You're more than welcome to stay hang out with us, but with 5 kids, I'm sure you've got things to do. Yeah, shoot, it's what 9:30 up with me. I got to get to bed so I can get the kids up to school in the morning. That's right. Well, let me ask you. We'll leave on this. You plan to keep fighting, I should say. Yeah. I want to keep fighting. I want to keep fighting in the UFC for the rest of my career. If I get squeezed another 10 years out of me, that's absolutely what I want to do. I love what I do. I love what it's helped me accomplish, and I'm a fighter at heart. I love this sport more than most. That's awesome. I can see that. I look forward to it every single time. And I have to say that the one time I had the opportunity to meet you in person at a comedy club years and years ago, I didn't get the chance to take it. And I'm so bummed that it never happened. I'm so thankful that you're such a genuine person and were willing to come on and chat with us. It's super No, cool. You're very welcome. And anytime I can get my kids in bed, I'll be here, guys. Let me know if you ever want to vent on here. We love to listen. Absolutely. Before you go, do you want to call out anyone? Name names. That's what we're all about. Yeah, shoot. You know who I want to fight? I said I was supposed to fight him at the beginning of this last camp, but 3 weeks out, he got injured. Zach Cummings. He seems like a legit guy. Just a great dude. Yeah. I would love to
I was really looking forward to our fight. And I hope he's all right. I'm not sure what got hurt on him, but I hope he's all right. Let's do it.
Yeah, Zach comes
Fantastic.
one of my other favorites. That would be a great brawl.
It'd be great. Yeah.
Can't wait to talk to you again.
Hey, and if you guys ever want to ask me any questions, hit me up on TikTok. I love TikTok. I have been doing so much on there. I answer questions. I'll do a video or two a day on behind the scenes UFC stuff. So
how can the people find you on TikTok?
Hey, same thing as on Instagram. It's at Smilen Sam, SMILEN SAM. Hey, have a good night,
sir.
guys. Thank you for having me on.
Bye.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, bye.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
All right, so we had UFC Fight Night.
Yeah, Rodriguez, Waterson.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get to see your favorite fighter, TJ Dillashaw, compete. He got hurt.
Yeah,
Do you have any thoughts? Now you were rubbing his feet. I heard. Is he upset? How's he feeling?
I was rubbing his feet. I transitioned to the toenail clipper.
Right.
And a rogue one flew off and gee dang it, right at the eyebrow. Cut his eyebrow.
Yeah. Gee dang it.
It was literally a flying shame.
No. Well, so let's run down. TJ Dillashaw, we are not fans of yours. Yeah, I said it.
TJ, come on.
No, I'm not. No.
Okay.
Fight Cody clean, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
And leave that in.
Actually,
right,
yeah, I will.
So
I agree with
Gregor
that.
Gillespie
did his
knocks
thing.
out, Diego Ferreira, Carlos Diego Ferreira. Tell me about it.
Hey, Gregor did Gregor. He got hit a couple of times. You know, that happens though. But he grinds people out. That's what he does. He did exactly what Gregor does. He sounded good afterwards, and I look forward to the next one.
Who's next for him?
Gregor? Geez.
14-1 at lightweight.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have UFC 262 coming up, and I actually think there's some lightweight stuff happening there. So I might have to say wait on that.
Okay.
I don't know necessarily if he's like, I don't know if he's necessarily ready for a Ferguson or a Gaethje.
So you know what? You have a point. Let's hold off on what we think of Gregor Gillespie, because I've got some thoughts on Tony Ferguson we'll talk about in a second. And
okay. Yeah, we'll come back. But hey, the other fights were still great. I mean,
I think anyone has their hands full with Gaethje.
Yeah, I was sad about Maurice Green, because I've liked Green since Contender Series. I think he was Contender Series and not tough, but and Marcos Rogerio de Lima. I mean, a guy who just went up weight because he got tired of cutting, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
and he's just a monster up there. That's all. You know?
Yeah, heavyweight is tough, right? There's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are the rumors? Jon Jones is walking at 260.
Really?
That's what I heard.
If he's walking at 260, he's solid muscle.
Yeah, well, I think he's solid muscle at any weight. He's just a genetic freak. We're not gonna do the let's talk about Jon Jones. I am a massive Jon Jones fan.
Yeah, I mean, you have like friends who really like basketball, and they like bring it up in every conversation, or they really like movies, so they quote a movie in every conversation. We're the friends that talk about MMA in every conversation, and in every conversation that we talk about MMA, you talk about Jon Jones.
I mean, I have a thing for greatness. That
is true about you. You do have a thing for greatness. It does not matter what it is.
100%. Here's the thing. You can shit on Tom Clancy books all you want. How many has he sold? Right? You can. I do have a thing for greatness, and it doesn't matter what the sport is. Doesn't matter what the activity is. I always want. I don't root for the underdog. You know, when I see Canelo fight, when I would watch Floyd Mayweather, I like undisputed greatness. I do. And I think at the core, the reason why I love the UFC so much, the organization, is because they are trying to find out who the greatest is, right? And you can't have that conversation without Jon Jones, because he's just fantastic. So we're going to table that. Two men, one name, Neal Magni and Jeff Neal. Neal Magni by decision. Any thoughts on that one? kind of
I think Jeff Neal might be wrapping it up in the UFC. I think he
Yeah.
just looked tired. He kind of looked almost bored.
I was gonna say kind of a pedestrian fight.
Yeah, he was. It was a heavy sparring for him that day, almost. Like I
Yeah.
know that he probably put in a lot of work and something else. He had sepsis, man. Like he almost
Yeah.
died. Like so.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, he should be taking time anyway. So I
Yep.
mean, because I like Jeff. He's from Texas, so like if I recall correctly, and I hope that he comes back because he really is a great fighter.
You mentioned you're sure he worked hard and prepared. I want to, and we're going to talk about something in a second. We know, right? Again, for all 10 of our listeners, we think you're pretty neat, but we know that these fighters are as prepared as they possibly can be, and they're getting in a locked metal cage with someone who could literally kill them. That's a disclaimer to the thing I'm about to say. But before that, Karate Hottie and Marina Rodriguez. Any thoughts there? Another fight that I kind of just wasn't that impressed with either way.
Well, that is the most wrong thing you've ever said.
Oh wow.
I was impressed by both of them.
Okay.
Like I thought they looked fantastic. I mean,
sure. From like a technical display of skill standpoint, yeah, absolutely.
Then I'm gonna say okay, that's fine. I retract my previous statement about you being wrong because like they both, and Michelle was outclassed and the by a way more technical kickboxer, but was a champ through that fight. Like it didn't seem like she was gonna win really at any point unless she
wasn't overwhelmed.
She didn't really seem overwhelmed. She was in the right spot. They both were.
Yep.
And it was realistically a war because Michelle won, I think, one round on every card and then two on two judges. And I think that was the right score. She could have put a couple of things together and gotten it, but that reach was huge. I mean, Rodriguez is enormous.
Yep.
For the size, and they were fighting up in weight. So I mean, it was just a weird situation.
Yes, you're right about that. We used the word overwhelmed. And I did go out of order on this card. Cowboy and Alex Morono. Is overwhelmed a strong enough word?
I think it's exactly the most appropriate word. And I think that is Cerrone's kryptonite. Overwhelm him.
A better fighter.
Overwhelm him at first.
So Connor did that.
But I mean, I don't think Connor was even the first.
I'd have to go back and look. I mean, he's on a 5-fight losing streak.
Yeah. If he gets caught, it's usually early.
Yeah. So with all due respect to everything Cowboy has accomplished, and his list of accomplishments is very long. I have been a fan of professional sports since I was 4. I know what it looks like when it's the end of the road for someone.
Yeah.
And I do think that's where we're at with him.
Yeah.
Right. It's the old saying, Father Time is undefeated. And I kind of think that's where we're at.
Yeah. And in the post fight, he kind of talked about how he was ready to ask himself the hard questions. And I still think that he's got at least another fight. He doesn't want to go out like he did, as he said, and has been repeated by a few outlets, but I think that he needs another challenge. And even if he loses it, as long as it's something challenging and fun, then I think he's gonna go out happy. And that's what I want to see. I want to see him have a war and go out.
I want to see him in there with someone. You know. So this is not a baseball podcast, but the Angels cut Albert Pujols this week or last week now. And, you know, I was listening to a Barstool, shout out Barstool podcast, and they were talking about how if you're like a 15-year-old baseball fan, you don't know that Albert Pujols was the single best player on the planet for more than a decade, right? You don't know that. You didn't watch it. And if you were a baseball fan or you're old enough to remember, you know that he was, right? And so what a lot of people have said they would have liked to have seen the Angels give him. Here's the problem. I watch every Angel game. They gave him a lot of opportunities to play. He can't hit anymore. He can't get to fastballs, right? So Cowboy Cerrone
can't get his kicks there.
He just can't do it, right? And if you it's nothing, no shots at him. I'm not going to go all Stephen A. Smith and say he was mailing it in for a paycheck. That's just not who he is. But
No.
at the same time, I know what it looks like when Father Time has caught up to someone, and
It's there.
and I think that's kind of where we're at.
That's okay with me. I mean, he's a legend. He's the cowboy.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's a lot of cowboys in the UFC, but he's cowboy.
Yep.
He's my cowboy.
All right. So we have UFC 262 coming up this weekend.
We do. I am very excited about UFC 262. How do you feel about it?
I am also excited for two reasons. Not as excited as, I'm going to be honest, not as excited as I've been for other UFCs, but definitely we're going to get Shevchenko's sister Antonina. We're going to have,
well, we did lose a fight, which sucks.
which one?
The Jack Hermanson Edmund Shabazian, which really bums me out, because that was going to be a good fight, and I actually think that Jack was going to win that. I think he was set to be favored for it, but I thought Jack was gonna take that one.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So we got Caitlin Chikagian.
Yeah. So let's run it down. What we're gonna do, we'll play a little game where we do our picks. We're gonna pick who's going. We're gonna go through the main card. Gonna pick the winner, what round, and how they're going to win.
Okay.
So total of 3 points for 1 point for each category, and we'll total them at the end of the week and at the end of the year.
That sounds good to me.
All right, first fight.
Pretty neat picks.
Pretty neat picks, yeah. PNP.
PNPP.
First
Wait, no,
fight
it's still
on
PNP.
the PNP.
P. Yes.
Bantamweight matchup: Matt Schnell and Rogerio Bontoren. Matt Schnell is a -167 favorite. What do you think?
Match now. I like Matt.
Okay.
That's all I got on that fight.
I will also pick Matt Schnell.
Cool.
Tougher one here. Featherweight Shane.
How do we pick?
Shane Burgos.
We didn't even pick how or round. I was gonna say UD myself.
I was also going to. I wasn't going to say unanimous. I was just going to say decision. Featherweight Shane Burgos and Edson Barbosa.
I want to know what you think of this one first.
Well, so I'm going to be honest. The only thing I can think of when I think of Edson Barbosa, do you know what it is?
Terry Edom.
No,
really, not the head kick.
No.
What is it?
Is when he fought Khabib at UFC 219.
Yeah.
And now this was before he was Khabib, right?
Okay.
You know, we're going back almost 4 years. He didn't quite have the status that he does now, as far as like the fandom is concerned, and that's fine. It was 4 years ago. Khabib absolutely ragdolled Edson Barbosa for 15 minutes, and
sure,
I distinctly remember sitting on my couch yelling for his corner to stop it, because
I don't think you were alone in that.
Because it's like, man, it's not even competitive.
Yeah.
So I will take Shane Burgos, and you know what? I'm gonna say 3rd round knockout.
Wow, you're taking Shane Burgos for 3rd round knockout. I am gonna. We're finally different, Dom. This is the first variation of the PNP.
All right.
Because I'm going to pick Edson Barbosa by 1st round knockout. I think he's going to catch Shane Burgos. He gets hit. And I don't think he's going to see it coming. I just don't. And I know that Edson Barbosa is not favorite in this fight. I don't believe. But I think he should be. I think that's a mistake.
There is no line on that on UFC's website.
What's next?
Women's flyweight Caitlin Chookagian, first team all name, and Vivian Araujo. That's a number 2 versus number 7 matchup. Caitlin is a -150 favorite.
I like Caitlin.
I also like Caitlin. I like her
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna say it at the same time? Unanimous decision.
I was gonna say unanimous decision.
Okay.
I
Then
was.
you know what? I'll take Caitlin by knockout because
Okay.
I want the point.
What round?
It doesn't say if this is a 3 or 5 round fight. Let's go 3rd round.
Okay.
Okay. Second to last is the co-main on this card. And this is one of those ones where so in betting, right, you have the public team, but they're trying to bring in money on one of these two fighters. Have you seen these lines?
On Ferguson, Dariush. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Have you seen them?
I have not seen them. I will. I know who is the favorite, and I wish it was in a state where I could bet on sports, because I don't think that Dariush should be favored in this.
Okay.
And that's as far as I know, he was favored. Has that changed? Has the line shifted?
Not according to the UFC website, which is powered by DraftKings. So as of Monday night, he's a minus 152 to Tony's plus 125. So plus 125. If you're not familiar with how that works, and Aaron, I know you are, you bet $100, you win 125. Minus 152, you bet 100, you're going to end up winning 48. Neal is the 9th ranked lightweight. Tony,
what are his odds?
minus 152.
Neal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Ferguson was the favorite.
No. He's plus 125. Tony's plus 125.
Yeah. That's okay.
So here's the deal. Let's be honest. If you're a guy in Vegas and you're not really a UFC fan, but you follow sports, you've heard of Tony Ferguson. You have probably not heard of Beneil Dariush, right?
Sure.
So
you throw some money on him.
The people who make the odds know that, and they'll put the guy they think is going to lose, but is the public name, as the underdog, so they can bring in money. Because people, Tony Ferguson, he always wins, and I'll put $100 on him, and then you lose your $100.
Sure.
Here's my question for you.
Sure.
Disclaimers in place, I suppose. Tony does train under Master Eddie Bravo. I train at 10th Planet under a lineage of Eddie Bravo. Not that Eddie knows that, but I do. Nothing special about it. I just signed up. Here's my question for you. When was the last time Tony looked good?
Well, that just seems kind of harsh. First of all, if I may say that.
Okay.
I think Tony has a chance in this fight. I think that he not only has a chance, I think that he will win by KO. I do. In round 1. I think it's going to be a quick main event, if you can't tell. I'm going to bring up his record. I'm bringing it up right now because
I'm looking at it.
Because when you say, like, when was the last time he looked good, I think of a bunch of different fights. I don't think of his most recent. I mean, Cerrone was the eye, right? Was the doctor stoppage. And he looked good in that. Of course, he just...
no. So the issue with my argument is he had a real serious run of just kind of fucking guys up. So
yeah,
again, I'm a big Tony Ferguson fan. Don't get me wrong. He fought Justin Gaethje back in May of last year. He was supposed to have been fighting Khabib then, remember?
Which will never happen.
And I do think on the ground, Tony is one of the only guys who has a chance with Khabib.
Do you though? Because I feel like Justin and Charlie Olives really kind of showed that Tony really wasn't going to be able to hack it.
Well, but let's talk. So that's kind of my question. When I say when was the last time he looked good, the doctor told Cowboy he couldn't fight anymore. Okay. Anthony Pettis'
up until he got figured out.
Anthony Pettis' corner stopped the fight before that. He got Kevin Lee in a triangle, beat Rafael dos Anjos by unanimous decision. He submitted Lando Veneta and Edson Barbosa. Decision over Josh Thompson. Back-to-back rear naked chokes over Gleison Tibau and Abel Trujillo. Split decision over Danny Castillo. He knocked out Kikunu.
Yeah.
And then submitted Mike Rio. Also Yves Edwards. I mean, he's got some names, right? For sure. I'm not
He's
hiding
great.
from that.
Is he figured out? Is that kind of your question? Like, did Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira just kind of embarrass? Like, did they pick him apart, or did he lose something? Is that what we figure out on Saturday? I think that's what we figure out. Yeah,
I think maybe that's what we figure out. If Tony does knock out or submit Beneil early, then he's right back in the lightweight discussion. He has to be. He's Tony Ferguson.
And based on what I've seen, I think his head is in a better spot than in the last couple. I think that the pressure of maintaining his like 12-fight win streak or whatever, of his maintaining his mystery of how good he is, it's like there's not a mystery of how good you are anymore because you've been beat. So he kind of maybe had to find himself a little bit, and I hope he did. I guess we just find out if he did, because I mean his other streak was so many years.
And in fairness, Tony is so good on the ground and so unique and so unorthodox with what he does. Again, we're not breaking ground here. Everybody knows that. If he's on the ground, you can play that game. It doesn't matter that he's 35, 36. You can play that game for a long time.
But Neal, though, is older. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but it does make him a little craftier. He was hurt pretty bad when he fought Drakkar close and came back and knocked him out, and it was beautiful, and it was almost experience that and toughness and grit that got him through that. And I think you need a shitload of that if you're going to fight Tony Ferguson, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe even more so than other people. So, I mean, he definitely could have it there. I'm just kind of wondering if his experience might do him in on this one, in that he'll have an expectation of all the other fighters that came before him, and Ferguson's not that. And I don't know. It depends on if you trained for it, how he trained for it, I guess. But I'm not a fighter, so.
So we're doing
curious.
the thing,
it's gonna be an interesting fight. That is a no-brainer.
So it's going to be a great fight. I'm definitely excited for that one. Now, let me ask you this though. Everything we just said about Tony, and again, Tony's great. Everything we just said about him is the reason they make him the underdog, because people will talk themselves into something that can't, or that's not, that isn't going to happen. So,
and what's your pick?
He beat Diego Ferreira. He beat Holtzman. He beat Drakkar close. He beat Camacho and Drew Dober and Thiago Moises. 2 submissions, 2 knockouts, 2 decisions. So he's on a little bit of a run here. Lost to Michael Chiesa, lost to Edson Barbosa. That's going back to 2016 though. So, well, I have changed my mind. Okay. I'm going to say Tony Ferguson by second round submission.
Nice. I like that. I can see that. Oh,
You talked me into it.
You're spinning my octagonal shaped wheels.
That car's not going to go very fast, but all right.
No, it is not. Speaking of a car that is not going to go very fast, that is the opposite of the ambulance that will be taking Oliveira to the hospital.
Okay.
At the end of round 1, because he is going to have trouble waking up. I think Dan Hooker part 2, but faster, because Charles is going to go for it, and I don't think that that's how you beat Chandler. And I think that it's not fair that Chandler's the underdog in this one either. Okay,
so I wanna share some stuff on MyBookie, mybookie.ag. MyBookie sponsor the podcast. Michael Chandler is a -105.
Really?
To Charles Oliveira's -125. So the UFC website right now, again on Monday night, has Michael Chandler at +110. So your $100 bet wins you 110. Charles Oliveira minus 134. Those lines have moved, or my bookie is not using the same odds maker, and they have Chandler at minus 105 to the 125 to the minus 125 for Oliveira. So Chandler's still a slight underdog, but it's closer. Now, if you are, and this is the bet I would be making if I was in Vegas this weekend.
Is it your pick?
No, it's
Okay.
well, sort of. It's a 2-fight parlay.
Okay.
Tony Ferguson and Michael Chandler to win. Of course, in a sports book, you're not choosing for the most part the way they're going to win, just straight win.
Yep.
Right now that pays out plus 358
For that parlay?
Just the two of them.
Wow.
That's
What are you doing this
and
weekend?
Do you know what? Well, do you know what? You've been to Las Vegas, right?
Sure. I might have got married there.
That's right. Do you know how they built that city?
I thought it was on rock and roll.
They built that city on guys like you and me saying, "Oh, that's a good bet."
These idiots.
Yeah. Having said that, plus 358. Listen, if I was walking around there, I'd throw $25 on it.
On a plus 358, you'd throw 25.
Hell yeah.
On that parlay,
$25 pays you 90
I'd throw 100 on that
to win your 358.
Yeah, I think I would. That's I like both of them in this fight. In these fights, I really do.
So you've got Michael Chandler by knockout in the first round.
I think Chandler by knockout in the first round.
I think Chandler by knockout as well. I don't know what round. I'm just gonna match yours just for safety. Michael Chandler knockout in the first round.
Like Dan Hooker is a different fighter than Charles Oliveira.
Yeah. Well, Oliveira is a better fighter.
Oliveira, I think, right now, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Chandler's where they are in their paths as fighters. It sounds strange to say it as careers. Like it's almost more reminiscent of like Khabib and Ferguson again. Ferguson is on this massive tear, and it just never comes to fruition. And I feel like Charlie is on the same thing. He's been around, he's had experience. Now he's on this great tear, but he's really coming into a star. Like comparing Chandler to Khabib is difficult because Khabib is retired and undefeated, of course.
Right.
But it's that same hunger, that same pressure, and that same relentlessness. A lot of fighters are figuring out their plan or whatnot in the fight, if you would, but he always seems to be, how am I going to be attacking next? It's never, how am I going to deal with this that guy's throwing at me? It's like, okay, they have a great leg kick, adjust, we're attacking this way now. Like he always seems to take that approach rather than trying to figure out how to defend. He's figuring out how to fucking win.
Yeah.
You know? And he wins by finishing. Like you can tell that that's his agenda. Even if it's a little slower, if he's grinding someone out, like, you know, his agenda is to end this before it gets to the judges every time.
Yes. You're talking about Michael Chandler. Yeah. So man, this, and we're going to have some lightweight discussions next week because this division is stacked.
It's insane.
Stacked. So Dustin, right? Then Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, and Michael Chandler. Tony Ferguson. Connor is still in there. Dos Anjos, I suppose. Dan Hooker, Beneil Dariush, Paul Felder, Islam Makhachev, and Gregor Gillespie.
Yeah. Let's do when we have a non-UFC numbered event. We're gonna do some lightweight fun. Let's just do a lightweight episode.
Man, and Kevin Lee is in there.
Yeah,
there's some fighters in that division.
Yeah, let's just have a nice discussion about that. Maybe we'll throw some super duper handicappers on a few of them too.
I would love to handicap some of those fights. And I do think we need to plan out our first live event pretty soon. Our first live.
Yeah, we do have
watch party.
For everybody listening, we did get our Twitch account set up, but we are still gonna, arrange making that work for when that can happen too. So UFC 262 is gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, let's hope all these cards go as planned, right? Tony, it seems like there's an equal chance that his fight doesn't happen because either he gets hurt or his opponent does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where this one's in Houston. Yeah, at the Toyota Center in Houston. I mean, I definitely think so, and I'm gonna plead ignorance here. Did Michael Chandler fight in ONE FC or in Bellator?
Bellator,
Yeah.
sir.
And you know what? I knew that. My only hope is we don't have a little bit of Ben Askren going on here, where now
Okay.
I know Ben fought in ONE FC, but you're fighting just a lesser caliber of fighter in those two organizations, right? Yes, absolutely.
Well, you know what? Chandler talked about that too. Like he openly discussed like the image of Bellator and how he was a UFC champion kind of stuck there not facing UFC competition.
Right.
So I mean there's some merit to that, of course, because the fighters acknowledge that merit. I don't think that that'll be the case. I think that Chandler really has been stuck. I think that he's been, I don't know if it's contracts or what's going on with UFC not liking him or what shit, but I really feel like he should have been in the UFC a long time ago, and there really wasn't any reason why he wasn't.
Yeah,
Personal opinions.
Yeah, and you know how the UFC and He Who Must Not Be Named can be with some of those with some of those personality mixes and whatnot. I do think so he became a free agent in August 2020, and then he signed in September with the UFC. So I think,
and he made weight for Khabib Gaethje just in case, waited on the scales and everything. I mean, he's been ready. I think,
yeah, and beat the fuck out of Dan Hooker. So
yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so in 2018, he signed an exclusive multi-fight contract with Bellator. So you know what? Hey, get your paychecks, Michael Chandler. If Bellator is going to give you the money and guarantee it, and I know that for most fighters, UFC doesn't operate that way.
I have a challenge for you. I'm sorry.
All right.
Distract there. I want maybe next episode.
Yep.
I would like for each of us to compile a list of who we believe will be the UFC champions at the end of 2021. December 31st, 2021, who are the champions?
In each division?
In each division. And the reason I want to ask it now is that, I mean, it's May, it's been 5 months. We've really had kind of preseason has sort of ended, if you will. And like International Fight Week is in July, and you really start to see what's coming together for the end of the year around that time. So it'd be kind of interesting just to kind of see what you think.
Yeah.
Maybe next week.
Yep.
I think that it's the right time for the I Think You're Pretty Neat, but I Respect Your Distance award.
All right.
Who are you giving it to?
I am giving the award to Mr. Smilen Sam Alvey.
You're gonna Mr. Smilen Sam Alvey.
And do you want to know why?
I want to know why.
Well, you tell him why. You know why.
Why because he's pretty neat.
Because he's pretty neat.
I respect the shit out of his distance.
Yeah, I respect his distance. Because Sam Alvey is the very first legitimate guest on the Pretty Neat podcast.
Tuck that into your pocket for the 100th episode trivia challenge we do.
That's right. Could not have been a nicer guy. I know everyone says that, but could not have been a nicer guy.
Yeah, genuine fellow.
Yep.
How do you want to say goodbye to the folks today?
Take us home.
Yeah, take us home. I'm gonna record.
All right, do it. Yeah.
This thing. Hey, y'all! Thanks for listening to the PNP. Our podcast is now available on Breaker, Castbox. Our podcast is now available on Breaker, Castbox, Google. Fuck me, this is fucking hard. I can't fucking read. This is so bad. Thanks for listening to the Pretty Neat Podcast, now available on Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcast, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, TuneIn, and coming soon on Apple Podcast and Stitcher. We'll see you soon. Oh yeah, follow us on all the social media stuff too. Bye.
Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Yeah, it's like that, y'all.
It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast. To be over